Matchday 18 in the Premier League, aka the Boxing Day fixtures, were carried out over Boxing Day and also on Friday night as well. There were a couple of games. In truth, those Friday night games were not the best. They're not going to feature in this, but 5 games from the Boxing Day fixtures will do. So here are the 5 things that we learned from Matchday 18 in the Premier League, aka the penultimate matchday in 2024 in this Premier League season. And we're going to start with the early kickoff on Boxing Day, Manchester City and Everton, the lunchtime kickoff on Thursday, and yet again Manchester City failed to win, and they took the lead in this one too. Bernardo Silva getting the opening goal of the game after less than 15 minutes played. Man City dominated this one in terms of chances and the possession, but they were quite poor in creating some high quality chances. They did have a penalty though. Erling Haaland missing from the spot. I think it was to make it 2-0 early in this game, but Iliman Ndiaye got the equalising goal just after the half-an-hour mark. A very impressive feat for him, really. Someone who was starting to make a name for himself in the Premier League. A very talented player, someone who wasn't having the best of time over in Marseille last season, but he's making a name for himself on Merseyside. He's doing pretty well for Everton, and Everton again pulling out another draw. They've drawn against Chelsea, they've drawn against Arsenal, they've drawn against Manchester City. This arguably the least impressive of the 3. I know that's probably doing them a disservice, but Man City's form is absolutely abysmal to say the least. Just that one victory in, 13, 14 games? Unlucky for them. It has been absolutely terrible. They slipped down to 7th. Again, they just can't hold on to a lead. They can't finish the dinner as it was. They they're a shadow of the fall themselves. It is the most remarkable downturn I can ever remember from a top side. They've gone from being the dominant force in English and arguably European football to being, frankly, a laughing stock. It's quite embarrassing, really, but there we go. But they weren't the only big side, or the only side further up the table to struggle this weekend. This match day, I should say. Another one being Chelsea. Chelsea were in second place before this match day got underway, and they hadn't lost at home against Fulham, their local rivals. This is a Fulham derby in a sense. Fulham, of course, in Fulham, and Chelsea also play in Fulham, Stamford Bridge, in the borough of Fulham, rather than Chelsea, believe it or not. But it looked as though this was going to go one way. Chelsea always do well against their neighbours Fulham, or at least they normally do, especially at home. They hadn't lost at home against Fulham in the league since 1979. It's been 45 years, and Cole Palmer, that man again, got the opening goal of the game after 16 minutes, but a late show from Fulham, and in truth they deserved to get something from the match. It was quite an even game overall. Harry Wilson equalising just a few minutes before times, but Rodrigo Muniz, a 95th minute winner for the Fulham man. The Cottagers head back to Craven Cottage with all 3 points. That is a massive victory for the away side in this one. A long time Chelsea have gone since they actually lost a game of football. It's a real shock result, especially in the league. I think it's been like October was the last time they lost in the league. Fulham, they are up to 8th place. They are level on points with Manchester City. Chelsea, they slipped down to 3rd. Arsenal winning tonight against Ipswich, so they overtake their London rivals there. They're the closest challengers to Liverpool now. But yeah, unbelievable result for Fulham. Fair play to those guys. They are really getting themselves in a position to give you an outside shot of getting into Europe. It is a definite possibility for them. At this rate, though, it's a probability that Nottingham Forest are going to end up in Europe. A 1-0 win against Tottenham at the City Ground. Their first victory against Tottenham in a very long time, apparently, at the City Ground. Tottenham dominating the possession, a 70% possession during this match. But in terms of chances overall, it was actually quite equal. And the decisive chance was taken by Anthony Elanga just before the half-an-hour mark for Nottingham Forest. This actually sends Forest up into 4th place. They are still in the Champions League positions, 5 points clear of Newcastle United in 5th, and that's a nice cushion to have. They will end 2024 in the top 4 no matter what, which is just unbelievable. What a season the Tricky Trees are having. Tottenham, though, consistently inconsistent. Jekyll and Hyde, and unfortunately we got Hyde in this Boxing Day fixture, so we'll see what happens before the year is out. Hopefully they will have a better better day in the final match day of 2024. But yeah, I did give a hint there. Newcastle are up to 5th place, a very impressive 3-0 victory at home against Aston Villa. They battered Aston Villa really in truth in this fixture last season and did the same this time too. Anthony Gordon took less than 2 minutes to open the scoring for the 2, and it remained that way until half time. John Duran though meant that Aston Villa very much had a massive uphill task to try and get back into this one. He got sent off after just half an hour played. He has been a really surprisingly good player this season, but he's not done himself any justice there. And we have heard as well today on the footballchronicle.com that John Duran will not have a red card rescinded. The challenge that Villa have put into the Premier League has been rejected, so he will have a 3-match ban, I believe, for that, a straight red card. But yeah, Alexander Isak made it 2-0 to the Toon after just under an hour played, and Joe Linton with a goal to round it off after just in extra time, in added on time at the end of the game. Incredibly impressive result for Newcastle. And like I said, it's been an inconsistent season for Newcastle on the whole, but up into 5th place, and overall you would probably wager that they will get the better of Forest as the season goes on. So as it stands, they're looking good for a Champions League place perhaps, and perhaps 5th place will be enough for a Champions League place anyway this season. Depends on the results in Europe of course, but the Premier League could get a 5th Champions League spot like Serie A and the Bundesliga got last season, but it all depends on how the sides fare in Europe and coefficient and all that good stuff. But yeah, the final match I'm going to highlight is the evening kickoff, not the late game that was Liverpool beating Leicester 3-1, but the later game of Wolverhampton Wanderers against Manchester United. And yeah, Wolves won 2-0. I'm not going to beat around the bush with this one. I mean, it's incredible really that this is not even that much of a surprise, to be honest. I mean, I went with a draw. I said that I could have seen either side winning this one, but yeah, Man United absolutely capitulating really. They were really poor. They didn't really ever look like winning this game. It was 0-0 at half-time. Fernandes got sent off just after the half-time mark, though. Really not what you want from your captain. And that didn't help them at all. And Cunha and then Hwang Hee-chan actually got the goals for Wolves. Chan scoring in the 9th minute of added-on time at the end of the game. Man United, to their credit, were pushing. They were trying, but they were just absolutely lackluster. They just didn't really seem to have a point when it came to their attack. And because of this, they are actually now down to 14th in the Premier League table. They are below West Ham United, and their manager is under massive pressure. And I'm not saying that Amarin should go, absolutely not, that's ridiculous, but it just goes to show how much things have slipped for Man United. They are 8 points above Leicester, who are in the relegation zone, and they are 7 points behind Newcastle. I mean, that does show how tight the league is, the fact that it is just 7 points between 14th and 5th, so it shows that you can climb up that ladder very quickly if you get a winning run together, but they don't really look like being able to do it. They don't look like being able to get a repeat, like a series of victories really at this point. So yeah, Man United, terrible for them. Wolves though, it's massive for them. They are out of the relegation zone, just a point ahead of Leicester, but yeah, incredible for them, and they will be chasing down Everton and Palace above them. So yeah, those are the main highlights, the 5 things that we learned from the Boxing Day fixtures in the Premier League. The Premier League will be back on Sunday, just a couple days from now. If you're watching this, you're most likely be watching it on Saturday, but this will be out very late on Friday. So yeah, just over a day until the next games in the Premier League. It's coming thick and fast through this festive period, and we'll be here to cover it all on the footballchronicle.com. So yeah guys, hope you like this video, hope you like this rundown. So much I could talk about really. Very eventful Boxing Day fixtures overall, as always, in the top flight of English football, and we'll see you soon guys. Have a good one. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and of course have a wonderful new year when 2025 comes through the door as well.